Everyone. I would call for a motion to open the public hearing of the Holyoke Planning Board.
I move that we open the public meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
By roll call vote, Rosanna,
Yes, ma'am.
Gernander. Gernander,
You're muted.
Some of your audio is not working. Some mic issue.
in the meantime, Rosanna. Anybody? Bueller? Okay, so Rosanna
I'm
said
sorry.
yes.
I said yes to continue. I'm
Yep,
sorry.
Yep, Nathan,
Yes
Yes.
to open the meeting.
yep, Kate,
Yes.
and Mimi,
Yes.
and Gernander.
Yes.
There you go.
Hey, okay. We have a great many guests for this one. Welcome, everybody. And at this point, I'm proposing to take our agenda out of order, go to project updates, old business, new business, where we have an AMC transit trails discussion. Is there anyone from AMC here to talk about this?
I'm gonna start to unmute people, but Jeff, do you know who those parties might be?
I have no idea.
All right,
Oh, Miriam raised her hand.
hold on a moment, I can't. Okay, there we go. I'm working on it. Okay, you guys should be okay, whoever's taking the lead.
Okay. I see two hands up. Thanks for being
Hello.
here.
Hello. Okay, hi everyone. So, is it okay if I share my screen? We have like kind of a presentation to put together. Is that
Sure.
okay?
As long as you state your name and address for the record.
Oh, yes, sorry. My name is Miriam Maselman. My address is 80 Maple Street in Williamstown, Massachusetts. And Serena,
She's muted.
you're muted.
Oops. Hello, I'm Serena Kramer. You need my address, like home address?
You could probably say the business that you work for.
Okay, I work for the Appalachian Mountain Club.
Okay. I think we should get their address for the record.
And my address is
Or their
234.
address. We don't need your home address.
Oh,
Sorry,
AMC's
I missed
address. Sorry. 10 City Square in Boston, Massachusetts is the AMC's headquarters address.
Okay, great. So the
Fantastic.
floor is yours.
Awesome. So, hi everyone. My name is Miriam. This is Serena. We both work for the Appalachian Mountain Club. And before anything, I'm going to share my screen so I can share this presentation with you all. Okay, share screen. Okay. Can you see it?
Yes.
It's not in presentation view. Perfect. Okay. So, hi everyone. My name is Miriam Maselman. I'm with the Appalachian Mountain Club. I'm the New England National Scenic Trail Planner, and my colleague here is Serena. She's the New England Trail Community Outreach Assistant. And today we're going to talk to you about a Transit to Trails campaign that we've been working on with the New England National Scenic Trail and the city of Holyoke. So to quickly kind of go over what we're going to talk about, we're going to introduce the New England National Scenic Trail and the Appalachian Mountain Club and kind of our role together in Massachusetts. We're going to talk about the New England Trail's relevance in the city of Holyoke. We're going to introduce the Transit to Trails campaign and kind of lay out the scope of work. talk about the collaborative opportunities that we have. So looking at increasing access to the local trails via public transportation, so PVTA bus routes, traffic calming measures to ensure hiker and pedestrian safety, and interpretive signage at bus stops and trailheads to promote the New England Trail as a recreational opportunity in Holyoke. And then, of course, I would love to have input and feedback, questions, comments, concerns, what you all think basically about what we're here to propose. So the New England National Scenic Trail is a 235-mile long through hiking trail that stretches from the Long Island Sound in Connecticut. I'm realizing how small this map is now, to the New Hampshire-Massachusetts border, up in the Warwick, Royalston area. The New England Trail was designated as a National Scenic Trail in 2009. It's a unit of the National Park System and Service, but it's managed on the ground in Massachusetts by the Appalachian Mountain Club, and in Connecticut, it's managed predominantly by the Connecticut Forest and Parks Association. So I'm the New England Trail Coordinator. I'm responsible for the planning, maintenance, protection, advocacy of everything related to the New England Trail in Massachusetts. And the New England Trail, like I could talk about this trail for like ever, but I kind of have to, I'm going to keep it brief for you. But one of the things that makes the New England Trail so special is that it is a close to home trail for millions of residents. The trail itself is within 10 miles of 2 million people, and it goes right through major urban communities, and specifically Holyoke, which is obviously what we're here to talk about. So the New
Okay,
England
so-
Trail, sorry.
Sorry, just before we go any further, I wanted to make one request and ask a question. The
Yes.
first request is just, this looks like a great presentation, and if we can get the whole thing sent to our clerk, who is email address I can drop into the chat for you when this is over, that would be great.
Absolutely.
The other
Yeah.
is that you had asked for questions and comments from members of the public. And do you want people to hold those questions till the end of the presentation, or would you like hands up as you go forward?
Folks can raise their hand if they'd like. We can also save time at the end for questions or comments.
Whatever is
Um,
easier for you.
How about, well, let's save time for the end, if that's okay.
Okay, let's go for it. Thank you. And I hope that will be the last interruption.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So, as you can see here, this is a map of the New England Trail, specifically in the Holyoke, East Hampton, Amherst area. The green, obviously, is the New England National Scenic Trail, and what's highlighted in yellow is the city of Holyoke. So there's 15 miles of the New England Trail go right through Holyoke. It cuts right through, as you can see, straight up Holyoke. It travels through the Mount Tom range, and Mount Tom is actually being the highest peak along the Metacomet Ridge. So it's a major center for outdoor recreational folks interested in outdoor recreation to travel to Holyoke and hike along the range and hike along the New England Trail. And so folks travel a lot to this area to hike on the New England Trail in Holyoke. But our focus and what we're doing here is to try and get folks within the city of Holyoke, within the community, to get out on the trail and engage in hiking, recreation, conservation work. And so all of the Holyoke residents live within 5 miles or less of the New England Trail. It quite literally goes through, thousands of backyards in Holyoke. And our goal here is to improve the connectivity between green spaces and urban areas via transportation, public transportation, but also access to information. And so AMC, like what we do, we're not necessarily new to the Holyoke area. We've had a partnership with Mass Hire in Holyoke for the last 5-6 years to employ 7 to 8 teens from Holyoke High School on our Holyoke Teen Trail Cruise. These kids work, Monday to Thursday, pretty standard hours during the summer months. And they work on the trail. They work on the New England Trail. They develop a variety of skills from carpentry to project planning, hiking, ecology, leadership, and local environmental awareness. And, these teen trail crews are a part of the collective effort to improve connectivity from urban spaces to green spaces. So this is just something I kind of wanted to touch on before getting into the nitty-gritty of the details of the specific project, but we're already in Holyoke and doing a lot of really cool work. And if you want to learn more about it, my email is listed on the last slide. So with that being said, I'll pass it along to Serena, who can talk a little bit more about the specific sites that we're looking at for public transportation access to the trail.
So I'm going to introduce our Transit to Trails campaign and go over the overarching goals, long-term goals for the project and the scope of the work that we've been doing thus far. We're considering this project as a step towards beginning to address environmental inequities, such as the barriers that those who rely on public transit or low-income or BIPOC communities who are disproportionately face in accessing green spaces. So improving access to information is kind of our emphasis here, promoting the awareness and exposure to the New England Trail, these opportunities to get outside through efforts such as interpretive signage and flyers, which we're hoping to put at bus stops, at trailheads, or in the heart of Holyoke. And like as Miriam said, the New England Trail cuts directly through Holyoke and is in such close vicinity to such high density of population. And our hope is that the people who are out on the NET and enjoying the space are reflective of the community itself. And that's an ultimate goal of the project. Additionally, just access to the outdoors has been shown in studies to have vast benefits, ranging from community pride and cohesiveness to overall public health, as well as improved economics. Go to the next slide. Next slide, Miriam. So this is a map. It's available on the New England Trail website. It shows some of the bus routes that intersect with the New England Trail. So the trails are already here. The bus routes already cross through them. And the work that we are emphasizing is more on expanding community engagement and awareness to these opportunities to get out onto the New England Trail. Next slide. So I'm going to quickly run through the junctions that we are considering. This is a map of the Transit to Trail junctions created by Garrett Stover with the Piscomic Conservation Trust. And it details the bus routes and stops that are relevant to accessing the New England Trail. Next slide. So number one, you see on the below is the McLean Reservoir. This is a flag stop on Route 202. So it's an 800-foot walk along the shoulder of Apremont Highway to reach the trailhead to the New England Trail. Number two is Holyoke Community College. This is one of our priority considerations, as it's already a existing hub of community members within Holyoke with like a range of demographics. And the bus routes are frequently circulating around this area. There's about a mile-long network of trails right behind the college that eventually lead and intersect with the New England Trail. And so we're hoping that this could be a consideration for the Transit to Trail. Next slide. So both of these spots along Route I-41, they're highly frequented hiking destinations. And from our conversations with PVTA, these are junctions that are worth mentioning and worth exploring, but more for a further down the road in the longer term vision for the project, as they are going to require a bit more in terms of infrastructural changes, such as building better bus pull-offs. It's a very busy road, so crosswalks with pedestrian activated lights to alert drivers and other traffic calming measures. So these infrastructural changes will require more detailed planning and are part of the longer term vision for our transit to trails. So we're taking it one step at a time. And right now our emphasis is really going to be on interpretive signage and promoting awareness of the opportunities that currently exist to access the trails through public transit.
Awesome. So, you know, the Transit to Trails campaign as a whole can be broken down into like a lot of different parts. Like there's the aspect of working with PVTA, and we've been having conversations with PVTA. As you all know, there's probably much of a longer term project or process of just introducing new bus stops and working with civil engineers on creating crosswalks and making it safer for pedestrians and hikers. But something that we've also taken into consideration as an effective tool for improving access to green spaces is the use of interpretive signs. And will my computer comply? Yes. So interpretive signs. So AMC has done a lot of work with interpretive signage. One of the nice parts about working for such a large organization is that we have someone for everything, and we have like a handful of people who work solely on developing interpretive signs. And so our vision, and this is like what we'd love to get feedback from you all on, is what we'd like to see is installing and developing interpretive signs to be placed at bus stops and trailheads in the community that kind of just lay out the New England Trail, provide people information on, you know, bus routes that they can take to trailheads, different hikes. As you can see here, this is an example of one that we developed for Mount Cardigan, which is up in New Hampshire. Both of these are up in New Hampshire. But like looking at like, you know, there's easy hikes, intermediate hikes, challenging hikes, talking about where to go, what you might need. And the purpose of this is to just make it easier for folks to access information. And so if you're at a bus stop and you have repeated exposure to something that's explaining this recreational opportunity in your backyard, the hope is that, you know, one day if you're on the bus and you go past the bus stop that is on the New England Trail, or you're looking for something to do on a weekend, the New England Trail is something that you think of. And these signs are intended to be written in both English and Spanish, so bilingual and representing the folks that are actually within the community. And you know, like I said, access to information is such a key barrier when it comes to folks exploring the outdoors, because it can be overwhelming at times. And you know, a lot of people might have hiked on the New England Trail without even knowing that they're on the New England Trail. And like I said, like it goes right through Holyoke. It is a major green space opportunity that we can provide access to. I don't want to say easily, because I don't really know how easy it will be. But in terms of, you know, what we can focus on next is looking at, you know, can we develop these sorts of signs? Can we put information out into the community? If we were to install interpretive signs at bus stops or trailheads in Holyoke, you know, what would that look like? And so without trying to put too much information out there, this is kind of wrapping it up. So if anybody has any questions, comments, or feedback, now is the chance to, you know, let us know. But thank you for your time, everyone.
Thank you. And you know, I'm going to invite everybody to raise their hands for questions, comments, etc. But just to start things off, I think what would be helpful for the planning board is to know if you have a sense of what precisely you are looking for from us. Are you concerned about having, for instance, you know, what kind of permitting you would need to install these signs? You know, that's something we can certainly inquire about.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Okay.
like the permitting aspect is, you know, definitely something that we're curious about. Also just in general, this is the first time we're kind of talking to, you know, public officials about this. So any form of like guidance or, you know, comments or feedback, or, you know, talking about permitting, kind of next steps that we can take to see something like this through.
Is a lot of what the planning board does is things like, you know, permitting signs. And this is certainly a form of a sign. It may also be something that the building department, who has jurisdiction over this, would consider structures because of the way the interpretive signs are constructed, because of their rooting in the ground. And this is the first time that I at least am familiar with there being a question about this kind of signage, which I think those of us who are outdoors are all familiar with seeing on the trails. And, at some point, if we're going to do this, we will need to answer questions from the city itself about, is this a structure? What kind of a structure? Would the building department want it to be permitted, and exactly how? Does our sign ordinance cover it? And that's all really a research project for us rather than for you, although we would be coming back to you, I think, with questions. So I'm also going to ask members of our staff to speak to this if they have questions or comments. But meanwhile, I see that Marlene Connor, who worked on the big project for the Whiting Street Reservoir and its future, has her hand up. So Marlene?
Give me one moment. She probably can't unmute herself. Actually, I can't find her in the list. If someone can unmute her, that'd be great.
I can ask to unmute. Let me see.
Ooh.
Oh, there she is. It looks like
Oops, I did.
somebody's managed to give her access.
Okay, there she is.
Thank you. Thank you, Mimi. I have a question. I know the city council had a committee of folks working on the on some ideas for future broadening of the accessibility and other things at the Whiting Street Reservoir. And as we looked at the reservoir in relationship to the New England Trail and all the other property, a question that I think we would want to be aware of is whether or not, since the city of Holyoke is in the middle of or starting a master planning process, since the ideas that you've talked about here with regard to educational signage, connection to transportation. I could talk about the connections to transportation for hours, because that's what I do. But I wonder if the work that you guys are doing has made it to the list of topics, ideas in the master planning process.
I don't
Okay.
think so.
Yeah, well, the master planning process is really just getting started. We are in the process of finalizing a contract with a consultant who's going to help us put this together. But I would, in fact, expect that outdoor recreational opportunities, connections to them, how the city wants to organize itself to ensure that people do have access, is going to certainly be one of the topics that we're going to want to cover. And being in contact with you all is certainly going to help with that.
And I think when we were looking and doing our work for the city on the Whiting Street Reservoir, we started to view all of that part of North Holyoke that is the New England Trail, the Whiting Street Reservoir, the mountain, the range, the ski area, the reservation, that all of these pieces would be well connected virtually to improve access, potentially collectively, looking at all of these pieces together. And that would be might be a way to look at improving access.
Okay, Kate?
So
Yeah, I think building on that, I'm both on the planning board and I was on the Whiting Street Reservoir Committee. I'm curious whether there might be any consideration about adding a few more stops. Like I can think of a couple other places where it might be really nice to have some stops that are maybe not like right next to the New England Trail, but really give people good access. And those would be, what is it, B48 that goes from the bus that goes from Northampton to Holyoke. If you could have a stop, say, you know, at the base of the old Mount Tom entrance that would then take people through the right reservoir to the New England Trail, but also then at Bray Lake at the entrance there, because I think a lot of people, those are two very attractive sites for people to go in and of themselves, but also create access to the New England Trail. Obviously, right, you know, it's a little bit longer of a walk to get to the trail, but I think you would, I think there are existing stops, both of those places, and including those in the signage as ways for people to access the trail could be really great. I think this is a terrific idea. I'm thrilled that it's here.
And if I could just say that, like, so we had to narrow down the list of stops and potential stops, and like we kind of had to whittle down all of the information that we have just so it was like presentable, you know. So we do have access to more information on stops that we've researched. We've actually like gone out there and waited for buses and, you know, scoped out potential areas where we could introduce new stops. But yeah, so to answer that, like we do have other stops in mind. I'd love to have a conversation about, you know, what you've seen, what you think. So thank you.
So, Lynn? I think we need to unmute Lynn Horan.
Working on it.
Okay, Lynn, you should be good.
They put their hand down.
No, I put it down for her,
Oh.
but I was waiting for her to come back on. Yeah, Lynn is unmuted.
We don't hear you, Lynn. You might be with mic problems.
I see Jeff is on separately. Jeff, if you're hearing this, we have unmuted Lynn if she actually is in a position to talk to us.
This happened in at least 3 different Zoom meetings. People have multiple mics sometimes, or mics glitching, maybe with the Zoom update. So a lot of people are having trouble speaking into their mic for some reason.
Yeah, that
And
could be the
yeah.
problem. And yeah,
Can
Can you hear me
question.
now?
yes,
Okay, yes.
There you
good,
are.
great.
I switched to my other audio. Thanks, Nathan. Yeah, my name is Lynn Horan. I'm currently vice chair for Holyoke's Commission on Disability. I'm also an outdoors person who uses a wheelchair. So I'm curious, two kind of questions. One is in the actual New England Trail, what sorts of things that you might be planning to make those trails mobility accessible, and also have been working in our city as well, because I'm very interested in making these trails that we have, lovely, wonderful access to great trails, accessible, both in terms of anybody can do it, as well as wheelchair accessible from the interior of our city. And that, of course, is something that I've been working on in the city too, just for wheelchair users getting around, to locate mass transit cutout curbs, for instance, very low, close to access, so that they can indeed also the folks that live downtown to be able to come up to the trails.
I love that you asked that question. So I started with AMC working on their actual like trail crews. And I did a lot of work in actually constructing all persons trails up in New Hampshire, down here in Massachusetts, right outside of the Westfield area. And so looking at opportunities for the construction of all persons trails along the New England Trail has been something that I've been looking at and considering. Obviously, there's a lot of not necessarily limitations, but there's very specific environments that you can construct all persons trails in, because there's grade requirements, intrusion requirements. You're going in with an excavator and tearing up tread and going in with machinery. And it's a long process of building these trails. But I mean, that being said, the actual work itself, I love doing. And so I've had this conversation a number of times. I'm familiar with the trail that was within the last couple of years built in the Bray Lake area. That was started. The loop was never finished. It like the loop just like cuts off at a bridge and then it's like not accessible. So that's something that we've looked at. It's not necessarily directly on the New England Trail. It's more so near the New England Trail. But AMC, like we do all persons trails from like down in New York and New Jersey up to Maine. So those are opportunities that we look for all the time. So, you know, as things come up, as project ideas come up for all persons trails, we're all in, you know, and looking for, you know, mass trails grants, recreational trail planning grants, and getting our
Oh, her, hey, okay. You want your phone
Can
for
I
some
just
light?
add one thing to that to both
Yes.
of you is there is currently a state bill. Meg Bandera is putting it forth from Northampton. If you're familiar with it, that's moving on to its next committee hearing soon to make a larger percentage of all trails and hopefully some funding to go with that. And all I would say is I appreciate that. And please, please, please contact me, Lynn Horan, as well as Meg. As you go through this process, we're more than happy to do a site visit with you or offer any help that we can help. And you can contact me just by going to holyoke.org and looking for the Commission on Disabilities. Thanks very much.
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, any further comments or Nathan?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think this is a really fascinating and great idea. Probably be a lot of real life challenges. I actually take the B48 bus regularly to go to my work in Northampton from Holyoke. I was actually on it today. I also tried biking from the middle of the city to different trails like the Ashley Reservoir, which was a very dangerous challenge. I think the sad thing is a lot of the great trails in the city or places to enter them are on the east-western side of the city, while the city's densest downtown areas with more poverty and other challenges are in the eastern part of the city. So getting to those places can be a challenge, but I'm really impressed to learn that you've done bus research and shows potential routes. It seems like these buses actually go from the downtown area at Holyoke Transportation Center to these potential areas to in the potential trailheads in NET. I think being a regular bus rider, a couple things came up for me. I'm pretty sure you already thought about that before. I mean, PBTA. Well, first of all, it seems like this proposal will probably really involve a lot of coordination with PBTA, the Pioneer Valley Transit Authority. And my experience with riding the bus for more than a year, I think there's a couple things that came out. It's, you know, a lot of these flag stops, especially on B48, are on Route 5, you know, sort of a middle of a high-speed semi-highway with no proper stops. So flagging down, getting off them, walking to different parts, and also flagging the buses down can be a little bit risky. And the buses are very frequent. Many of the routes are only hourly, and they end pretty early, usually around 5 or 6. So if you miss a bus, you have to either walk or bike. I actually had many instances where I missed the B48 bus by like 15 minutes, and that was the last bus. So I had to bike 10 miles from Northampton to Holyoke. That's not a fun ride, just to warn you. And so I think, maybe I hope these can be addressed effectively. Sounds like a great idea. Then one concern is if you have inexperienced hikers who don't time themselves properly, they may take the bus, get to the spot, take much longer than planned to, and they miss the last bus. So there's no great way for them to go back home. I think that's one of the concerns. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else?
Hey, raise your hand, Joe.
Yeah,
Oh,
I had
great.
one other thought, Miriam, just thinking back to where the stops that you're already talking about. The first one being the one at Apremont Highway. I don't know. I mean, I've entered the New England Trail at that location. And that road is just so busy. And I think it would seem like if there was any way to get PVTA to add a flag stop actually at the trailhead rather than making people walk up Apremont Highway, that may be that may be a huge ask, but it just seems like that's one location where it'd be really nice to like be right on the trail.
Yeah. Thank you. I agree.
Sorry. Okay, Marlene. Oh, I'm sorry.
Ma'am, can I?
I didn't see you. You can go first.
Yeah, thank you. I'm agree with Kate. 202 Westfield Road is getting dangerous and dangerous every day. The bus to the college, it just stopped on right across the street from the fire department, Homestead Avenue, 615 Homestead Avenue, and then go to college. And there's not any other bus stop. From Homestead to walk to Ashley Reservoir, there's a sidewalk, but after that, there's no walkway to the Apremont Highway. And being living on Westfield Road and being business on Homestead Avenue, we see every other day a lot of accidents. And the lights are coming hopefully soon by this summer, maybe Apremont and Westfield Road. So they might can slow down those traffic, because is I even put the request before too, because the speed limit is like 30 there and people flying like 50 mile an hour, and very dangerous to people to walk. Even on Apremont Highway, people does park on Westfield Road and Apremont Highway to go to this trail, but they're taking a lot of risk. So I don't know if there's any bus go from Westfield Road to Apremont Highway. There could be a stop added there, because I seen a lot of car park on Apremont Highway and getting to the trail. There's one point there was I was going through and somebody stopped me, and I had to help those two folks. They parked their car on 141 and there was this side, and they lost. So I give them right through the Rock Valley to get them to 141. So it's very kind of dangerous over there. The same thing on 141. We are already dealing with the traffic over there, and they need to thought about that too. Thank you. Thanks for your time, and it's a good project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else who has their hand up that I'm not seeing? Okay, seeing none. This first, thank you for coming in. This does look like a wonderful project, and obviously there are a lot of moving parts to it. One thing that we're going to have to, if we're going to try to help with any of the technical details, probably discuss with you in more detail what kind of help the Pioneer Valley Planning Authority, the Pioneer Valley Transit Authority is going to be, what kind of land they have, how you would make space for your proposed signs, what the actual footprint of the signs would be. We're going to need more specifics before we can start looking at how exactly they can or should be permitted. But, I'm sure we can develop that information as we go forward. And
Yeah.
if there are any specifics you can share with us, please feel free and come back to us anytime. And, we'll start looking at the sign ordinance again.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much. And I can if it's okay, put my email in the chat,
please,
or
yes.
something, or send out an email with my information. But yeah, this is super exciting. I'm so glad that, you all took the time to hear us out tonight. One of my close partners is Kristen Sykes with the Holyoke Pedestrian and Bike Committee. And she kind of has been the, not the driving force, but she's the one who kind of encouraged us, and Yoni Glogauer, too, as bringing this forward and seeing if, we throw enough at the wall, something's got to stick. And, I'm hopeful now that the conversation going that, we'll follow up and see what we need to do, see what information we can provide you with to kind of get something, moving to, make something happen, hopefully. But yeah, thank you so much. And I'll provide my contact information along with Serena's. But yeah, I appreciate the feedback and the questions. It's been super helpful.
Well, excellent.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank
Thank you.
Okay, so this brings us back to regular order. And at this point, I would call for a motion to recess the meeting of the Holyoke Planning Board.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
I roll call vote Rosanna,
Yes, ma'am.
Bernander,
Yes.
Nathan,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
and Mimi.
Yes.